Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the University of Dundee Master of Education webinar. My name is Helen Spiropoulos. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global, and joining me this evening all the way from the UK is Dr. Marie. Good evening to you, Dr. Marie.
Hello, good evening. It's lovely to be here with you tonight.
Good, and it's a long time since we chatted. I think you had a very well-deserved break, so welcome back from your break.
Thank you.
Good, and I can see that there are quite a few of you that have joined us far afield as Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Welcome this evening. Now, how we're going to conduct the webinars, I'm just briefly going to introduce you to Stafford. I'm then going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, who's going to take you through the program. And then towards the end of the presentation, I am going to be looking at all the questions, and I'm going to group all the questions together because they do tend to be very similar, if not identical. And this will give you the opportunity to ask Marie any questions pertaining to the academics of the program. And if you have any questions pertaining to admissions, I can also assist with that as well. Okay, so let's get started. Now, who is Stafford Global? Now, Stafford Global was established in 1993, and we are a resource centre for distance learning education in the East. And we are currently a resource centre for 5 UK universities, one of which is the University of Dundee. Now, we do offer a variety of programs ranging from certificates to diplomas, bachelor's, MBA, MSc, right through until doctorate. So we really do have all the programs for your own professional and personal needs. Now, the mere fact that you're here with us this evening means that you have been in touch with one of our very experienced academic consultants, and they are here to assist you throughout the entire application process. And Stafford also offers some academic and administrative support as well once you do start your program. Okay, so let us get going with the presentation. So I am going to hand you over to Dr. Marie. Over to you.
Thank you, Helen. Hello and good evening again. Welcome to the University of Dundee and the Master of Education programme. So as Helen says, I'm Marie. I'm a lecturer in education, primarily leadership is my subject matter. I'm also the academic lead and the advisor of studies for all students who are undertaking their studies through the University of Dundee and Stafford Associates. So let's have a start off of who we are here at the University of Dundee before we move on to the MEd programme and start to break down some of the programme for you. So the University of Dundee, here we know that we make a difference, not just here locally in Scotland, but also around the world. We make that difference in the real world through not only our research activities, particularly our teaching activities, but we encourage that cross-disciplinary exchange of thoughts, ideas and innovation through a variety of teaching methods and practices. We work to foster a partnership approach between students and staff, and actively seek ways of working together across different boundaries, whether that's geographical boundaries or whether it's disciplinary boundaries. We encourage and support students to be transformative. We make time to listen to you, to help you and to support you. And we recognise and respect differences, actively promoting inclusion. We also nurture creativity and innovation. We encourage you to identify and explore novel ideas and to push those boundaries. So in sum, our purpose at the University of Dundee is to transform lives locally and globally through the creation of sharing and applying knowledge. So we are ranked highly across the university rankings, and what I'm showing you here is some of the ranking of our rankings that we are proud about. You know, we're in the top 10 in the UK for education, and one of the world's top 200 universities for graduate employment. I'm not going to go through all of these rankings because it would take a while, particularly if I start to add in more and start to discuss each one of them. But as I say, we are very proud of our high rankings as a university. So let's have a little look closer then at the MEd itself. So the MEd is a professional development programme undertaken at a level 11 on the Scottish qualification framework. So that's at master's level. And that may be equivalent to level 7 on the English National Qualification Framework, for example. But it's all at master's level. It's an internationally recognised qualification. It's a qualification that's based on reflective practice. So, and many of our students undertake work-based inquiries also. So you do need to have experience within an educational setting, primarily teaching, and of course if you've had a leadership experience, that will also be useful. So you need that experience to be able to undertake the programme successfully. It is a programme that is recognised by the General Teaching Council, so the GTCS, but it's not a teaching qualification here in Scotland within the UK. What we say is that because different national governments have different prerequisites for teaching, we do advise that you check with your relevant governing body or registering body to identify what the requisites are for teaching, and then to see if our programme aligns with that. Okay, so to give you an overview of the programme, it is either a part-time or fast-track study, mode of study, which does offer you flexibility. As I say, it's an international recognised postgraduate qualification with education at its focus, and that's from early years through to higher education. We take a blended learning approach, so we do come together in a similar way as to how we're coming together tonight. If you're currently joining us this evening, sessions are recorded, so if you can't join us, you'll still obtain the teaching, but then there's a lot of work and written activities for you to carry out. It is practice-based professional development learning qualification. So as I say, we do expect you to have that experience to draw from. It's also accredited by the International Baccalaureate, which I'll come to talk about shortly. We have students from all over the world and from a variety of different sectors. And it is, we do treat all students equally. So even though you're studying at a distance, you'll still have access to all of the student support that we offer at the university. Okay, so why study at master's level? Well, there's several benefits of undertaking a master's degree or even working up within that master's framework. So first of all, it deepens and broadens your knowledge through you asking questions, seeking the answers, and exploring the landscape through different theoretical perspectives, which then changes the way in which you perceive the world. And through this, you will develop a more inquiring, reflective, critical, and innovative approach to your practice. So it really is trying to align that theory with the practice and vice versa. Through undertaking the MEd, you'll demonstrate your mastery of education, which of course can then be honed further to specialise in a specific educational area. It enables you to develop transferable skills such as criticality, communication, use of technology and organisational skills, all of which are useful within your practice. It also, study at master's level enables you to improve your career prospects, which then often leads to higher incomes, as this can also include professional progression into leadership and management roles. Also, you might wish to progress on to a doctoral study if you obtain the full MEd, and we certainly have students who do just that. Some countries consider teaching a master's level profession, so therefore obtaining an MEd enables you to meet the professional requirements for these countries. So as you can see, there's lots of reasons why it's beneficial for studying at master's level. So why study the MEd at the University of Dundee? As I say, it's a programme of study that brings together the theory with your practice. It encourages you to draw on your experiences and align them with literature. It enables you to question why we do certain things and whether there are alternatives where practice can be enhanced. It encourages you to strengthen your knowledge about global educational developments through offering an opportunity to critically explore those different perspectives of education around the world, all of which help to develop or extend your confidence and enhance your professional career. And as tutors, we've continuously seen our students' practice being influenced by their learning at master's level. And this inevitably benefits the students and staff who you are working with. So to obtain an MEd, you'll need to complete 180 credits if you go for the full Master of Education. So 180 credits of study in any of the named awards that you're seeing on the screen at the moment. The award of Leading Learning and Teaching that's highlighted in bold is our generic award, and this award provides subject flexibility. If you require a subject specialism, you can see that we have several options for you there, from educational leadership through to the TESOL programme, so teaching English to speakers of other languages. Okay, within each of the pathways that we've just highlighted, we do have a variety of optional modules. Each of the optional modules enable you to carry out the study and assignment without being in a workplace environment, as long as you have that relevant teaching experience to draw from that I've already spoken about. Each optional module is considered as a single credit module, and so these are worth 30 credits. Additionally, we also have 3 core modules, reflecting upon practice, or depending on the route that you take, that could be reflecting upon leadership in the IB, research methods, and the dissertation. So the two early, the reflecting module and the research methods are single credit modules, so they are also 30 credits. However, the dissertation module is worth 60 credits as it's a double credit module. Okay, to demonstrate how the named awards and modules link, you can see that this will use the top level there, the leading learning and teaching, so the generic module. How this award enables you to undertake any 2 optional modules because it does have that flexibility, and then it also gives you the flexibility at the dissertation stage. Whereas the named awards, not highlighted in bold, do require you to undertake specific modules, and the dissertation must also focus on an area that's relevant to that named award. So for example, if you wish to obtain an MEd in educational leadership, then one of your optional modules must be leadership and organisational development. with a free choice of a second optional module, but then your dissertation must also focus on educational leadership. I have mentioned already the International Baccalaureate Awards, the IB, so we'll take a closer look at these just now. And for these awards, you can see that we have 3 awards available to you: the Certificate in Leadership Practice and the 2 advanced awards, one in Leadership Research and one in in Learning and Teaching. For these awards, once you commence your studies at Dundee, you'll need to register directly with the IB, and we do provide you with guidelines on how to do this, and we'll work with you in relation to this. We also have dedicated members of staff who will provide you with IB support. There's no additional assignments for each of the IB awards, but you will be expected to underpin your writing with IB publications, philosophies and ideas. And again, we'll provide you with support for this. So you can see there with the 3 pathways that Certificate in Leadership Practice doesn't require any IB experience. When we move on to the advanced certificates, we do require, depending on where you're coming into the programme, it may be that you don't require the IB experience. However, you will have needed to achieve the certificate level in the first place, or it may be that if you do have experience of teaching within an IB school that you can, and you are seeking credit for prior learning or credit exemption, then there could be an alternative pathway available to you. The advanced certificates in learning and teaching research does require you to have that 3 years teaching experience in an IB school. Okay, so just have a little look at a typical route through the MEd. This is a part-time route, which will be carried out over the 3 years. In year 1, we will apply this to the postgraduate certificate level. So some of you may be solely focusing on this and not completing the full MEd. And in year 1, you could take this as the reflecting upon practice plus an optional module if it's for the generic leading, learning and teaching, and you are going for the IB advanced teaching and learning research. Year 2, you would then undertake your second optional module plus the core of the research methods, and then year 3 you would undertake your dissertation. And you can see from the screen that the different exit levels are at each of those years. And as I say, you complete the full MEd, it may be that you have that IB eligibility as well. Okay, so if you are undertaking the MEd and focusing on leadership and wishing to include the IB Leadership Awards, again, we can see a typical route through here. And this time in year 1, we have the 2 required modules, and these are specified by the International Baccalaureate themselves, of leadership and organisational development and reflecting upon leadership in the IB. That will give you the IB Leadership Practice Award eligibility, as well as being able to exit our postgraduate certificate. But of course, we hope that you continue to complete the full MEd, and you can see again the different exit opportunities at each of those years. But year 3 this time on your dissertation, if you were going for that leadership award, you would have to focus your dissertation on leadership. And if you were wanting that advanced IB award, you also have to bring in the IB into your dissertation. So again, we will give you support on that throughout your studies. So the study duration, as I've already mentioned, we do have the part-time and the fast-track routes. So although it is a part-time, there is primarily a part-time programme, there is some flexibility there. The key difference here is that you double up the amount of work carried out in a semester for the fast track route. So you would undertake a total of 60 credits in one semester as opposed to the 30 credits for the part-time route. The fast track option, I have to say, is a significant undertaking, and I strongly advise you to consider whether you have enough space to complete that approximately 30 hours of study per week. If you do decide upon this option, but then you feel that it's too overwhelming, we can transfer you onto the part-time route at the start of a semester. Equally, if you commence the part-time route, but perhaps your circumstances change, that you feel that you're able to double up the study, then again, we'll be able to transfer you at certain points of the study. Do note though, if you are undertaking 2 modules at the same time, you'll also be expected to submit 2 assignments on the same day. There won't be any leeway because of you opted to undertake studies through the fast track route. A final point to note is that we do not offer the fast track option in the final 60 credit dissertation module because we've previously found that students have not been able to achieve their dissertation because of this. So going forward, what we are saying is that there is no fast track option for the 60 credit dissertation, but again, we can talk about that. I will be your advisor of study going through your MEd programme. So it's something that we can discuss between us if you decide to undertake the full MEd. Okay, moving on, the optional workshops. These are planned for September the 8th and Sunday the 9th of October. The workshops are not mandatory but are highly recommended. They are a fantastic opportunity to meet with other students as well as some of the tutors. And it's a space for us to start building that sense of community. And research shows us that, building a learning community helps to enhance students' progress and achievements throughout their learning. Of course, we'll be building that learning community if you can't attend the workshops, but this really does provide us with that good starting point. The induction workshop will provide an opportunity to gain an understanding of the various mechanisms within the university's online learning library and how to access the various support opportunities that are available to you. It'll also enable you to develop an understanding of critical reading, thinking and writing that's required for master's level learning. So even if you're doing the postgraduate certificate alone and not going on, you are still working at master's level, so these are still a requirement. From the workshops, the feedback is always excellent. Students find them very worthwhile and beneficial to moving forward with their studies. Entry requirements, all routes must have an undergraduate degree, and that can be in any discipline. If your undergraduate degree was not taught in English or English is not your mother tongue, then we do need, there is an English language requirement of an academic IELTS of 6.5 or equivalent. We do need that teaching experience, so that you don't currently have to be working in a school environment because we understand that there may be some life circumstances that may prevent that. But you do need to have previous experience and substantial experience to be able to draw from to help with your assignments and understanding as well, of course, throughout. For graduation, we do hope that you'll join us in Dundee for graduation. It's a wonderful celebration, and it's really a fantastic opportunity to come to Scotland, to come to Dundee, to visit the campus, to meet the staff and some of your peers as well. But please do know we don't issue the certificates immediately after you have passed your final assignment. There is a process to go through, and certificates are awarded on graduation twice a year. So that's either the June graduation or the November graduation, depending when you finish your studies. So no certificates can be provided until you have graduated on either of those times. But registry, so our registry department, we can contact those if you wish to have confirmation of your success or of your studies, and we can provide you with a letter of confirmation if you need that for your employers, for example. So we get a lot of good feedback in general from our students, from the support that we give to, of course, the learning that's taking place and how that influences understanding of your own understanding and those around you, and of course what that does for your career progression. Okay, tuition fees, please do ask your academic consultant at Stafford for a breakdown of the fees and any instalment schemes that they may have available to you. And please do note the application deadline is the 12th of September, so it really is coming up very fast indeed, so please get those applications in. And on that note, I believe Helen will be joining us to pull together your questions that I can respond to, or that we can respond to. Hi, Helen, great timing.
Good, excellent. Thank you so much, Marie. And yes, you're quite correct. I have started grouping the questions already. Okay, so first question is, I'm a physical education teacher, so I don't have physical access to a classroom. Will I be accepted on this program?
Yes, the actual physical context of where you are, it doesn't impact the programme at all. I mean, some students don't have access to a school environment, and some of our students may be working from their homes. It may be that they're private tutors. So we have a whole range of students with different physical contexts. So that's really not going to impact your studies whatsoever.
Good. And how can I actually become a qualified teacher with this particular program?
That does depend whereabouts in the world you are and your country's requirements for teaching. As I advised in the presentation, please do check that out, because everywhere around the world is very different. And some it may be that you need to obtain a teaching license through a slightly different program. For others, the postgraduate certificate is more than adequate for you, because you're learning at the master's level. So do check that out first.
Good, excellent. And can you advise what is the maximum time period that I can complete this program in the event that I need to take breaks in between?
Okay, so from start to finish, we typically look at, well, you need to have it completed within 5 years. So there are opportunities to take temporary withdrawals in the event of something happening where you do need to take that break. And if that's the case, if you do find yourself in a position where you need to take a break, then I would always say speak to either myself or the programme manager, Christy Hurd, who you will meet and certainly have communication with if you apply for the programme sooner rather than later, so we can provide that support to you and identify those timescales with you.
Okay, and next question is quite interesting. I have not studied for quite some time. As a matter of fact, it is about 10 years ago. Do you think that I will manage to study and pass this program?
Absolutely. You won't be alone in that. We have quite a large number of students who haven't studied for a long time. Some of 20 years plus since they've last studied. So I can understand perhaps the anxiety a little of returning to study, but we give you a lot of information, we give you a lot of support, and we don't just hand you the materials and expect you to get on with it. We are there with you, albeit at a distance, but we are here through the virtual means.
Okay, I completed a qualification about 6 years ago. Is there any way that I can get exemptions for anything that I may have passed?
Unfortunately, the exemption rules and regulations say that we need qualifications to fall within the 5-year period, so you're just out of that, I'm afraid. And the reason for that is because, you know, our knowledge has changed so rapidly over the years that we need to make sure that it is current, so there is a cut-off date there.
Okay, and the next question is regarding a student. Oh, I can see Emily. Okay, so Emily's question is, I have got quite a few qualifications to my name, such as TEFL and TESOL. I do not have a bachelor degree, but I do have extensive years working experience, approximately 15 years experience in education. Will I be accepted into this program?
Fortunately, you do need an undergraduate degree. That could be in any discipline, but you do need that undergraduate degree or something that's equivalent to that. I would suggest that you speak to the team at Stafford to see what alternative options are available to you.
Okay, good. And the next question is a double question. Okay, from Madison.
I'll try and remember both.
I think I'll just go with the first one.
Okay.
All right, so the first question is, can I apply for the postgraduate certificate in educational leadership with the IB pathway? And can I come back after that and do a diploma with the TESOL specialisation? I hope I've got that question correct. Okay.
Okay. There are ways to do that. It's quite complex, but there are ways to do that. So yes, in theory, but for me to sit here now and start talking through the modules, I think that could be challenging. So what I would do is put that question to your academic consultant at Stafford, and let's have a look at the options that are available to you. Certainly either myself or one of the team will advise you on that. I need to also sit myself and work through how that would or could happen.
Yeah, logistically as well. Okay, and then the second part of that question is, will I get exemptions from any of the postgraduate certificate that I have completed if I'm going to do the TESOL? Again, that would need to be looked at.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that if you are going to do the postgraduate certificate here with us at Dundee and you return within that 5 years, you will be using those credits to go towards your postgraduate diploma, absolutely. But how that will work in theory, we do need to just check that out, because I'm starting to wonder whether I'm correct in saying that you can do the diploma now with that. So let's send in the information, let's have a look at it. That's what I will leave that at before I get myself all in a tangle.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do get in touch with us, and then we'll be willing to obviously put everything in writing, send it to Marie, then she will be able to actually give us some guidance on that. So
okay.
yes.
And I think, you know, what's showing by my response there, and suddenly thinking about it, is such a complex program with lots of different routes through and different speed of study, pace of study, and different modules all come into different pathways. So hence myself maybe getting myself in a little bit of a tangle. But other than that, what I would say, you know, just to echo what Helen has just said there, is send in the information and let's look at it.
Absolutely. Okay, and Bismarck, I will actually answer your question with regards to scholarship. Please do get in touch with your academic consultant. There are various scholarships that may be available to you. So please do get in touch with us on that. Okay. And Omnia, okay, so Omnia has just left the session. She says it's very valuable. Thank you very much, Marie, but unfortunately I need to go. Okay, no, fair enough, not a problem. This, by the way, this webinar is recorded, so you will be able to.
She hasn't left a question, Len.
You will be able to get this as well. Okay. Oh, very interesting question. A friend of mine did this program a few years ago, and they were face-to-face sessions in the UAE. Why are there no face-to-face sessions now? I would love to see you, Dr. Marie.
Yeah, so we'd love to see you as well. I think the way things are since COVID, unfortunately it was COVID that put a stop to us coming out to the UAE in the first place. And because things are still changing, you know, both in the UAE and here in the UK, we can't guarantee that, you know, we will be coming out at any time, but, you know, the workshops are taking place virtually. We can still build those relationships virtually, as well as offer the different activities that we offered out in the UAE. So watch this space. Either way, you will there will be that induction for you and induction materials available. And of course, we will be working hard to try and build those relationships.
Okay, and a question which is actually quite common is if I cannot attend the graduation, how do I get my certificate? Will this be couriered to me?
Yes, the certificates are posted out. So you will need to complete the graduation task to then trigger all of that process for the certificate then to be posted out to you. And then you'll receive a tracking number for that posting, so you'll be able to then monitor and track that through until it gets through to you. What I would always say, and I'm going to say at the very beginning, is if you sign up to undertake your study, as I say, we hope that you do, please keep on top of your personal details. If you change residences, let us know. You will be able to access your own record to be able to do that, because the address that we have on record will be the address that your certificate gets posted out to. So we need to make sure that you are where you say you are for you to receive that.
Absolutely. And next question is regarding assessments. How long are the assessments? And I'm assuming this is talking about the word count.
Okay, yeah, because we don't have a length of time in assessment because it's not an examination. These are all written assessments that they are for the single credit modules, 5,000 words. Some may be 4,000 words plus 1,000, say, planning document or an appendix document to go with that. But generally speaking, we are talking about 5,000 words. For the dissertation, however, that is 15,000 words. And I know these seems probably quite lengthy assignments, but even yesterday I was having a conversation with a student who's just submitted her final assignment. One of our Stafford cohort who was saying just how much she developed throughout the semester, but how much she suddenly thought, 5,000 words is not enough for me to say all what I've got to say anymore. So the challenge was keeping it within that rather than going 6,000-7,000 words. So, and that's a common message that we receive. So that just goes to show the amount of learning that takes place over the course of a semester.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's excellent. Good. And This one's about specializations. If I do not enjoy my specialization that I have chosen in the beginning of the program, is there a way of changing that, or do I still have to stick to that specialization I've chosen?
There are time limits of when you can swap and change various things, because of course we need to make sure that you can meet an alternative specialisation. So there will be timescales when those can happen, and it also depends on what you wanted to change from and to. So if you are changing, let's say, from the generic Leading Learning and Teaching Award to a specialist area, we need to identify whether the modules that you've already undertaken will allow you to do that. So again, conversations need to happen before we can say for definite whether you would be able to change or not.
Right, good. And the very last question is, does the university actually provide us with the IB certificate, or do I have to get that from IB directly? Can you guide me on this?
Yes, the certificates will come from the IB directly. There is a fee to pay, a small fee to the IB for those. But no, what we do is we help to register you, and the IB then will keep in contact with the relevant colleagues who deal with the IB, and then once they've been sent that list from us of students who have achieved their awards, so whether that's postgraduate certificate and you are finishing with the leadership practice certificate, or whether you're doing the advanced, we inform the IB of this, and it's them that then will contact you directly and support you through obtaining those certificates directly from the IB.
Excellent. Okay, well, I've managed to group all the questions together. Thank you very much, everyone, for your interesting questions. And as Dr. Marie has said, we have an application deadline coming up very, very quickly. We're looking at around about the 12th of September. So I do encourage you to please send your application documents as soon as possible so that we can get that very important unconditional offer for you and start the program soon. Thank you again, Dr. Marie. It was lovely having you with us, and a very good evening to everyone. And I hope to see you all on our program. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.